everyone, today in this video I'm going to be checking out the Lubluelu Cordless Vacuum Cleaner, specifically the model 202. This is available in 3 different colors. We have purple, rose, and blue. This is a sponsored video by Lubluelu, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. You'll see some more product information on the side right there, and then we'll look at the other side. Now let's go ahead, let's open this up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have your instruction guide and manual in multiple languages, walking you through everything you need to know, from setup and controls to charging, using, storing, maintaining, and they even have a troubleshooting section for you. 2-year warranty information, and then everything again in multiple languages. Next, you'll find a lot of accessories. Crevice tool with the purple accent to match our vacuum. Brush tool right here. So we can pop that cover off and you'll see the bristles on the brush. We have our charger. Take a look at the power supply here. Barrel connector, and you'll see the specs. Extra replacement filter. Wall anchor kit for the included wall mount, if that's the route you want to go. Multi-purpose cleaning tool and detangling tool. 1 included battery with our speed and suction settings right there, and our charging port. This is a 2200 milliamp hour battery. You'll see all the specs on that sticker. It is a lithium ion battery. Next, you'll see the main power and motorized brush roller. This will support itself upright, and you'll see how it's able to swivel and rotate to the left and to the right. Purple accent again to match our vacuum's color. Motorized brush, built-in LED lights. There's a look at the roller brush. 2 wheels on the back side, 2 wheels on the front. Next, you'll see our expandable vacuum tube. Follow those arrows. You should be able just to pull it out and back in right there. It's not going to move right there, but if you grab on the arrow, you'll be able to pull it in or out very easily. With indicators, how to connect it, which end goes where, brush, and main vacuum. See it from all sides and angles. And then lastly, we have the vacuum itself right here. Max indicator on the dustbin. Easy release lever, just press that. See it from the other side with instructions. So we can get in there to get access to clean and replace our filter as needed. And then it just twists right back in place, snaps shut. Power trigger. Here's a look at the back side where we need to slide in the battery. It's only going to fit one way. Snaps right in. Top angle with their logo and branding and power indicator. And then you'll see maybe on the inside right here, if you can tell, we have this little battery release button. So we can remove the battery as needed. When I power it on, you'll see we have our power indicator right there and our speed setting. So max, minimum, or if we want that medium setting. Press the trigger to turn on, press again to turn off. Now let's go ahead, let's get our vacuum set up. Set up simple and straightforward. Go ahead, attach the battery, just snaps right in. Then you're going to attach the main tube here, line up the correct icon with the correct part of the vacuum. That'll snap in place. And now you just have to pick and choose the accessory that you want. Say you want the crevice tool, that'll just snap right in. You're all set and ready to go to start vacuuming. Don't forget, you can extend that out if you want to give yourself some extra reach, or you can bring it back in. Also, if you want, you can pop this back off and we could just add the crevice tool right to the main unit itself. But in this case, let's go ahead, let's pop that in, and we're going to add the main motorized brush roller right there. And same thing, if we want to increase that height, go ahead, just extend that out. While we have it up and running, let's go ahead, let's turn off the studio lights, and we'll see how bright the built-in LED lights are. Vacuum's on, take a look, our 3 LEDs right there. You can see everything in front of you, casting a nice wide glow right here. You'll see all 3 lights, not bad. Now it's time to clean. We got our first clean out of the way. Now let's look at the real world results. So we'll look at each accessory that we use to clean to get a feel for what you can expect. So on our brush tool right here, depending on what you're vacuuming up, in our case, we've collected quite a few human hairs being tangled within the bristles. See it from all sides. Next, we have our crevice tool here. Not noticing any tangles or anything like that with this. Maybe just the occasional speck of dirt. Then we have the main brush roller here. A couple things I want to point out. When we removed the body, a lot of dust fell out. So we have some really fine dirt and dust particles that are being sucked up and trapped into the vacuum unit itself that don't necessarily always make it up to the dustbin. And then you'll see we have dust coming out of the motorized brush as well right here with some tangles. This really brought up a lot of really fine dirt and dust all throughout our house while we were vacuuming. Really interesting to see that. But on the multi-surface brush roller here, you will see that we do have plenty of carpet fibers and threads from that long shag rug. A lot of human hair. I do want to point out I have 3 long-haired, hairy individuals in my house and a dog. So this is just some real-world looks at what you can expect. So what you need to know with this is basically you will need to spend some time maintaining and cleaning your brush to always see effective results. If you let these tangles build up over time, your vacuum is going to be less effective in cleaning everything. So there's a look at the motorized brush. And now we have the dustbin here so you can see the contents that it was able to suck up. And it's fairly full. We still have a little bit of room left. I'd say about half of our room we could still vacuum with this. But let's dump it out and let's take a look at the contents in here. So really disgusting what we're seeing. Got some large crumbs, a piece of pretzel, Christmas tree, droppings there, right, from the little pine needles falling. And then there's that really fine dirt and dust embedded into all of the human hair and pet hair that the vacuum was able to pick up off the ground. So get a feel for what you can expect. The really fine dirt and dust right on the edge there and in our clump of hair to larger objects like a piece of pretzel, you know, food crumbs, grass clippings, right? We got our pine needles, things along those lines. That's what you can expect with this vacuum in a real world environment. So how does this vacuum stack up against the competition? I'll be comparing it to the overall average of all the cordless vacs we've ever personally tested. We're getting closer to that 20 unit mark. So we'll look at some key factors and variables to see what the value is of this vacuum compared to the competition. So the first thing we have to do is get in the right mindset, and that's talking about cost. So you'll see the cost of this unit is about 1/3 of your typical average cordless vac. That's going to lay the foundation and framework for how we can view and interpret all the data we're about to look at. So with that being said, as we go through all these metrics, keep in mind, are we at least 1/3 of the result or better? And if we're actually closing that gap in at or near, even exceeding the average, then you'll see that that value continues to be in favor of this vacuum. So first up, let's talk about battery life. This is measured in minutes. The brand advertises 45 minutes some places, 50 minutes elsewhere. Ironically, when we tested this out, again, this is going to be at the lowest suction or power setting. We got 47 minutes until the unit ceased working. The battery died at right at the 47-minute mark. It was like 46 minutes and like 57 seconds. So right at 47 minutes, you can expect if you're in the lowest power setting. If you want to use medium or high suction power, expect those results to greatly diminish. But compared to the average cordless vacuum cleaner, we're neck and neck, right? 47 to 52, that's not that big of a swing, especially for 1/3 of the price. Next, bin capacity. This is measured in liters. This has a 0.6 liter bin capacity. That's 0.1 liters above the average, so well within range. And you always want to have that larger bin size because that means less trips to empty your vacuum out. Next, we'll talk about rated power measured in watts. Typically, the higher the better, the more powerful your vacuum is going to be, which theoretically in turn should lead to better performance in deep cleaning and actual real-world results. So in this case, you'll see we got a score of 235 watts compared to the average of about 351 watts. So we are below that average. But again, if we go back to the cost of this vacuum, we're still well within range and technically exceeding expectations. Next, we'll talk about max CFM. Just like our rated power, the higher the better for this score. Typically, it's going to mean, again, that you should get better real-world results cleaning with your vacuum. This came in at 26 CFM. We measured this in-house compared to the vacuum's average, just your typical cordless vac, of 33. So about 7 CFM less than the average. But again, it comes back to how are we processing this information for what we're paying. Now, with those previous results, theoretically, you would expect this vacuum to be below the cordless vacuum average. But in this case, with our test, we actually exceeded the average by 1 point. So the best possible score in this test is 100. The vacuum got a 95. Typically for vacuums like this, you'll be in the mid 80s. So we really overachieved on this test. I think it has to do more so, obviously, because we know the power metrics aren't as good. It has to do with the brush roller and that design and how it's able to pick up stuff off of carpet. Because for our test, we embed coffee grounds into carpet, and clearly that is going to be what made a difference. So not only are we at the average cleaning spec, we're actually technically above it, and you're putting a lot of extra money back in your pocket. Moving right along, how loud is this vacuum? Well, we measure the max decibels with our max suction mode enabled vacuuming carpet. This peaked at 82 decibels. The average is 86. I think you would expect something like that because, again, this vacuum is not as powerful as your typical average cordless vacuum cleaner, which should mean it's not going to be as loud when you're maxing everything out. But is there any noticeable difference using this vacuum versus your average cordless vac with max suction power? To my ears, no. You'll be hard-pressed to tell the difference between 82 and 86 decibels. For this vacuum's weight, it's measured in pounds. This vacuum is 4.6 pounds, so very lightweight, about a half a pound less than the average. So that just helps you if you're used to maybe fatiguing with your vacuum. Having a lighter weight vacuum will be easier for you to maneuver around, carry around your house, maybe take it up or down the stairs, things like that. Obviously, though, I would want to point out that typically with your more affordable vacuums, they're going to be lightweight because of the parts and components that they're using internally, whether that's your battery or your motor. Typically, there's going to be some compromises there to help keep those costs lower. So where's that leave us with our Lubluelu Cordless Vacuum Cleaner? Well, let me share with you my final thoughts. Here's what you need to know after I've used this vacuum cleaner. We've covered quite a few vacuums, and I gotta say, the design of this one's very simple and straightforward. They all usually follow a very simple pattern, right? Snap in your accessories. You may or may not get the auto adjustment here. I like having the auto adjustment, especially if you want to use that as an extension for like the crevice tool. You'll appreciate customizing the heights. I always wish they made them even a little bit longer, especially if you're taller out there, you would appreciate something like that. But at least we have some customization right there with the height. Also, I love that with this design, it can support itself standing upright in the lowest and tallest position. So it's always nice to not have to lean it against a wall or set it down on the floor. You can just pop it up, it snaps in place, put your foot on, and release it as needed. They also didn't skimp, and they still gave us LED lights. I'd like to see those lights be brighter, maybe spaced out a little more so we can actually cast that light all around and throughout the vacuum versus more of that narrow spot in the front, but they are good enough. So that is always a pro. Lastly, the performance was way better than I thought it would be. Typically, like we said, we'll see that mid-80s. We overachieved with this vacuum. So that's a testament to their brush roller, especially with carpets. But that leads me to what I want to see improve with this vacuum in the future, and that's the brush roller. So you'll find most cordless vacuum cleaners will get some tangles here or there. When you're on the very budget-friendly side like this vacuum, typically you'll find more tangles in their brush roller designs than premium cordless vacuum cleaners, and that holds up true in this case as well. So just know if you're getting this vacuum, you will need to maintain that brush roller pretty frequently, especially if you have a lot of long-haired pets or long-haired humans in your house. Next, I want to point out with this vacuum cleaner, I thought it was unusual that we seem to collect a lot of really fine dirt and dust, sometimes at the top of the brush roller housing. and just at some random spots all throughout the vacuum. So it is sucking it up and out and agitating the floors, but it's not fully making its way up into the filter and dustbin. So every once in a while, you might find yourself wiping it down or just maintaining it a little bit more than you would with your average or standard cordless vacuum. Lastly, this vacuum has some of the tiniest wheels we've ever seen. Usually you have larger wheels on the sides back here, and I'd argue those larger wheels aid in navigating better on carpets or transitioning between carpets and hard floors. Keep in mind, it really just depends on, again, how thick your carpets are and things like that. So I noticed a little bit more resistance on carpets and rugs with these smaller wheels, and in my case, transitioning from the rug to the hard floor and back to the rug, depending on how hard and forceful you're pushing it, you might get a little stuck every once in a while. So I'd like to see larger wheels on the back, but there is one little piece here that might actually affect how good of a job this does cleaning on carpets, because I think with these smaller, tinier wheels, it's creating an even better suction for the motorized brush attachment. So with that being said, for me personally, I'll forego that slightly better boost in carpet deep cleaning to get the better experience pushing and navigating with the vacuum. But again, that's just my own personal findings and thoughts. But if you get this vacuum cleaner, you'll enjoy a very good price to performance ratio for what you're getting. At the end of the day, it's always great to get a cordless vacuum cleaner because one, no cords anymore, super nice, and two, have